The merchant ship, Silent Dawn, floated quietly through the darkness of space. Captain Jai-Ho Park sat in his command chair, looking at the stars through the main viewport. His ship was carrying cargo to the outer colonies, just like any other day. At least, that's what the paperwork said. "Captain, all systems are running normally," First Officer Hae-Nul Kim reported from her station. She was checking the ship's hidden defense systems while pretending to do routine maintenance. Jai-Ho nodded and took a sip from his coffee mug. The Silent Dawn looked like any other cargo ship from the outside. Its plain gray hull and simple design made it seem boring and ordinary, but looks could be very misleading. "How are our special modifications doing today?" Jai-Ho asked quietly. He didn't need to whisper. They were alone on the bridge, but old habits died hard. Hae-Nul smiled as she read her screen. "Everything is perfect, Captain. Engineer Du-Yun just finished checking the power systems. We have 3 times more power available than what shows on our official records." That was good news. Out here in the Outer Rim territories, ships needed every advantage they could get. Pirates were getting bolder these days, especially the alien ones who thought human ships were easy targets. The Silent Dawn's cargo manifest listed common trade goods, farm equipment, processed metals, and basic electronics. What it didn't list were weapons. This always made pirates very interested in their ship. After all, what fool would travel the Outer Rim without guns? Security Chief Yoon-Gai reports all crew members have finished their combat drills. Hae-Nul added, still pretending to do normal ship checks. "They're ready if we need them." Jai-Ho smiled. His crew was the best in the merchant fleet, though their true skills didn't show up in any official records. Each one was handpicked not just for their normal jobs, but for their special talents too. The bridge door opened with a soft hiss, and Navigation Officer Sun-Woo walked in. "Captain, we're approaching the Nexus trading routes," he reported. "This is where most pirate attacks have happened recently." "Good," Jai-Ho said. Some captains might worry about pirates, but he saw them differently. Each encounter taught the galaxy an important lesson about humans. Keep us on course. Make us look nice and peaceful. The Silent Dawn continued its journey, moving steadily through space. Its engines hummed quietly, sounding just like normal merchant engines should. But inside the engine room, Engineer Du-Yun watched over systems that could do much more than just move the ship. "Status report," Jai-Ho called out, keeping to the normal routine. "Hull integrity at 100%. Hae-Nul replied. She didn't mention that their hull was actually military-grade armor disguised as regular merchant plating. "Engines operating at standard power," Sun-Woo added. He didn't talk about the extra power systems hidden throughout the ship. "Communications clear," said Minji from her station. She didn't mention the electronic warfare suite hidden behind her simple-looking console. Jai-Ho looked at his crew with pride. They were ready for anything, though no one looking at them would guess it. That was exactly how he liked it. Let the pirates think they were just another easy target. The truth would be a very educational surprise. "Keep alert, everyone," he ordered. "It's going to be another routine day in the Outer Rim." His crew nodded, knowing that on the Silent Dawn, routine could mean many different things. The ship moved deeper into pirate-infested space, looking for all the world like helpless prey. But as humans from Earth often said, appearances could be very deceiving. The first sign of trouble came as a small blip on Minji's communication screen. She watched it carefully, making sure before reporting. "Captain, we have an unregistered ship approaching from Sector 7. Captain Jai-Ho didn't move from his relaxed position. "Show me," he said calmly. A large image appeared on the main screen. The approaching ship was twice the size of the Silent Dawn. Its dark purple hull was covered in weapon ports, and its design was clearly Crixian, one of the most notorious pirate species in the Outer Rim. "They're charging weapons," Hae-Nul reported from her station. Her voice remained steady, just as they had practiced many times before. The pirates didn't waste time. A harsh voice boomed through the ship's speakers. Attention human vessel. This is High Commander Vex of the Stellar Blade. Your ship has entered our territory. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Jaiho picked up his coffee mug and took a slow sip. Minji, please open a channel. He waited for her nod before speaking. This is Captain Jaiho Park of the merchant vessel Silent Dawn. We are carrying farm equipment and processed metals. We mean no harm. Harsh laughter came through the speakers. No weapons listed in your manifest, Captain. How foolish of you. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you cooperate, we might let your crew live as our servants. The bridge crew continued their work as if this were a normal day. Engineer Du Yun's voice came through the internal comm system. Captain, all special systems are ready. Just give the word. Thank you, Du Yun. Jaiho replied pleasantly. Please maintain standard power levels for now. He turned back to the main screen. High Commander Vex, there must be some mistake. We are a simple merchant ship. Perhaps we could discuss this. The pirate ship grew larger on their screen. It was now close enough that they could see the battle scars on its hull. There is nothing to discuss. Human, you have 10 minutes to surrender, or we will start shooting. Your ship's manifest shows no weapons. This will be easy. Security Chief Yumgai appeared on the bridge, moving quietly to his station. All security teams are in position, Captain, he reported, his voice low and professional. The welcome packages are ready. Jaiho nodded, still looking relaxed. Very good. Minji, please keep our channel to the pirates open. I want them to hear how calm we are. The pirates were getting closer. Their ship's weapon ports were now clearly visible, glowing with charged energy. 5 minutes, human captain, Vex growled. Your time is running out. Hanul, Jaiho said quietly, are our special modifications still hidden from their scans? Yes, Captain, she replied with a small smile. Their sensors only see what we want them to see. They think we're helpless. The pirate ship moved into attack position. On the screen, they could see its boarding tubes extending. 2 minutes, humans. Your scanner readings confirm you have no weapons. This is your last chance. Jaiho finally stood up from his chair. He straightened his uniform and looked at his crew. Each of them knew exactly what to do. They had trained for this many times. Minji, please send this message to High Commander Vex, Jaiho said, his voice still pleasant and calm. Dear Commander, you seem very interested in what our manifest doesn't list. Perhaps you should be more concerned about why we don't need to list weapons at all. The bridge crew watched as the pirate ship prepared to attack. None of them looked worried. After all, this was what the Silent Dawn was built for. Sometimes, the best way to teach a lesson was to let the student make their first mistake. The real question was how long it would take these pirates to realize that when dealing with human ships, what wasn't listed in the manifest was far more important than what was. First Officer Haynul's fingers moved quickly across her control panel. With each command, hidden systems throughout the Silent Dawn came to life. On the surface, nothing changed. The ship still looked like an easy target. That was exactly what they wanted. Defense grid powering up, she reported to Captain Jaiho. All systems are masked from external scans. In the engine room, Engineer Du Yun watched power levels rise on screens that weren't supposed to exist. The ship's reactor was special. It looked normal to outside scanners, but could produce 3 times the power of a standard merchant vessel. Right now, that extra power was flowing into systems that no pirate would expect. Power distribution is ready, Captain, Du Yun reported through the comm system. They won't detect anything until it's too late. Security Chief Yungai stood at his station, watching the crew take their positions. His security teams weren't regular merchant guards. They were specially trained for situations like this. They moved silently through the ship, manning defense stations disguised as cargo containers and maintenance panels. All security teams are in place, Yungai confirmed. The pirates won't know what hit them. On the main screen, the pirate ship's boarding tubes were getting closer. High Commander Vex's voice boomed through the speakers again. 1 minute left, humans. Your scans still show no weapons. Submit now or face the consequences. Captain Jeho smiled slightly. Minji, please make sure we're recording everything. This will be educational for other pirates in the region. Minji nodded, her communication systems capturing every moment. Like everything else on the Silent Dawn, her equipment wasn't what it seemed. Behind the simple controls lay advanced systems that could do much more than just send messages. Boarding tubes will reach us in 45 seconds, Sun Wu reported from navigation. His station controlled more than just the ship's movement. Much more. Hanul looked up from her console. Captain, their scanning beams are trying to map our interior. Should I activate the false layout projectors? Yes, Jeho replied. Let them think they know our ship's layout. It will make the lesson more effective. Throughout the Silent Dawn, hidden systems created fake sensor readings. The pirates' scans showed them a normal merchant ship layout, cargo holds, crew quarters, and simple corridors. They couldn't see the security stations, the reinforced bulkheads, or the many surprises waiting for them. 30 seconds to contact, Sun Wu announced. Du Yan's voice came through the comm again. Engine room ready. All special systems are charged and waiting for your command, Captain. The pirate ship's boarding tubes were now clearly visible through the bridge viewport. They looked like giant metal snakes reaching for the Silent Dawn's hull. The pirates thought they were about to capture easy prey. They were wrong. Remember, Jeho said to his crew, let them make the first move. Let them think they have the advantage. That's when they'll learn the most important lesson about human ships. Hanul checked her readings one last time. All traps are set. Defense systems are ready but hidden. The pirates' scans still show us as a normal merchant vessel. The boarding tubes were about to touch the Silent Dawn's hull. Inside them, pirate boarding teams prepared to cut their way in. They expected to find scared merchant crew members and valuable cargo. Instead, they were about to learn why human ships from Earth, especially ones that didn't list weapons in their manifest, were so dangerous. Let them come, Jeho said calmly. It's time to start today's lesson about Deathworlders. The boarding tubes touched the Silent Dawn's hull with a soft thud. Inside them, the pirate boarding teams prepared their cutting tools. They had done this many times before. The process was always the same. Cut through the hull, enter the ship, capture the crew. Simple. But this time was different. The first pirate team activated their plasma cutters. The blue flame touched the Silent Dawn's hull, and nothing happened. They increased the power. Still nothing. The hull, which should have melted like butter, remained unmarked. On the bridge, Captain Jeho watched through internal cameras. Hanul, what do our guests think of our hull plating? Hanul checked her readings. Their cutting tools are at maximum power, Captain. They seem confused. She paused, then smiled. They're trying to scan the whole material now. Should I let them? No, Jeho replied. Let them wonder. Sometimes the best lessons start with questions. Through the ship's communication system, they could hear the pirates arguing. The hull composition is wrong. One voice said, these readings don't make sense. This can't be standard merchant plating. High Commander Vex's angry voice filled the command channel. What trickery is this, human? Your ship's manifest lists standard cargo hull materials. Does it? Jeho responded calmly. How interesting. Perhaps your boarding teams would like to try our airlocks instead. They might have better luck there. The pirates took the bait. Their boarding tubes moved to the Silent Dawn's airlocks. Standard merchant ships had simple airlock defenses that were easy to override. But the Silent Dawn was not a standard merchant ship. First airlock breach attempt in progress. Security Chief Yungai reported. He watched as the pirates tried to hack the airlock controls. They're using standard pirate override codes. Engineer Du Yan's voice came through the comm. Airlock defense systems are ready, Captain. Waiting for your command. The pirates' hacking tools connected to the airlock systems. On their screens, they saw what looked like normal merchant ship security protocols. They started their override sequence, confident in their success. Then everything changed. The simple security system suddenly transformed. The pirates' hacking tools overloaded and shut down. Their computer screens filled with warning messages they had never seen before. "What's happening?" High Commander Vex demanded. "What are these security protocols?" Captain Jaiho took a sip of his coffee. "Commander Vex, did you know that humans come from a planet where everything is trying to kill you? We call it a death world. It teaches you to be creative." The pirates tried to disconnect their systems, but it was too late. The Silent Dawn's security programs had already infected their tools. One by one, their hacking devices went dark. "Should I show them what else our airlocks can do, Captain?" Haynul asked, her fingers hovering over her controls. Jaiho nodded. "Give them a small demonstration, something educational." The airlocks, which had seemed so simple and vulnerable, suddenly came alive. Hidden panels slid open, revealing defense systems that no merchant ship should have. The pirates found themselves facing technology they didn't understand, designed by people who had evolved on a world where survival required constant innovation. "Your ship," High Commander Vex's voice had lost its confidence. "What is this vessel?" "This," Jaiho replied pleasantly. "This is just a simple merchant ship, Commander. Though perhaps you're beginning to understand why we don't bother listing weapons in our manifest. We find other solutions to our problems." Captain Jaiho stood up from his command chair. The time for sitting quietly had passed. "Engineer Du Yun, please show our guests what a human power core can really do." Deep in the engine room, Du Yun smiled as she pressed several controls. The Silent Dawn's power core hummed louder, but this wasn't the sound of a simple merchant reactor. This was the sound of a weapon waking up. "Power systems at full capacity," she reported. "All special modifications are now active." The pirates were still trying to breach the airlocks when the first surprise hit them. Energy surged through the Silent Dawn's hull, turning the entire outer surface into a defense weapon. The boarding tubes connected to the ship sparked and shook. "What's happening?" High Commander Vex shouted through the comm system. "Their hull. It's generating some kind of energy field." Hanul watched her readings with satisfaction. "The boarding tubes are losing power, Captain. Their systems are shutting down." Inside the boarding tubes, the pirate teams found themselves trapped. Their equipment stopped working. The tubes themselves began to detach from the Silent Dawn's hull, pushed away by forces they didn't understand. "Perhaps I should explain," Captain Jaiho said calmly to Commander Vex. "You see, on Earth, we learned long ago that anything can be a weapon. Our ships don't need special guns or missile launchers. The whole ship is a weapon." The Silent Dawn's engines pulsed. What looked like standard merchant drive units suddenly revealed their true power. The ship moved with speed and grace that should have been impossible for a cargo vessel. Navigation systems transferred to combat mode. Sunwoo reported from his station. The ship spun smoothly, demonstrating handling that no ordinary merchant ship could achieve. Security Chief Yoongi's teams moved into position. "Defense teams ready, Captain. Shall we show them our cargo holds now?" Jaiho nodded. "Open the special cargo sections." Across the Silent Dawn's hull, what had appeared to be ordinary cargo bay doors slid open. But instead of trade goods, they revealed sophisticated defense systems. Each one was built using technology that could be explained as having a peaceful purpose. Each one was now ready for combat. "Impossible." Commander Vex's voice shook with disbelief. "These systems, they're not in any database. They're not on your manifest." "Of course not," Jaiho replied. "We're peaceful traders. We just believe in being prepared. Engineer Du Yun, would you like to demonstrate our power system's special features?" Du Yun activated more hidden systems. The Silent Dawn's excess power capacity, far too much for a normal merchant ship, now made perfect sense. Energy flowed through systems disguised as ordinary ship components, turning each one into part of an integrated defense network. "This is why we don't list weapons," Commander Jai-Ho explained as his ship came alive around him. "When you come from a death world, you learn to see everything as a potential tool for survival. Our engines, our hull, our power core, they all serve multiple purposes." The pirate ship's sensors were overwhelmed trying to understand what they were seeing. Every scan showed them something new, something that shouldn't exist on a merchant vessel. "Captain," Min-ji called from her station, "other pirate ships in the region are picking up our transmissions. They're watching what's happening." Jai-Ho smiled. "Good. The more who learn this lesson, the better." "Commander Vex, your education is about to continue. Would you like to see what else a human merchant ship can do when it needs to?" Navigation Officer Sun Wu's hands moved across his control panel with practiced skill. What the pirates had thought was a simple navigation station was about to show its true purpose. "Gravity control systems ready, Captain," Sun Wu reported. "All sectors are prepared for special maneuvers." Captain Jai-Ho nodded. "Show our guests what a human navigation system can really do." The Silent Dawn's artificial gravity, which had seemed like standard merchant-grade equipment, suddenly changed. In the sections where pirate boarding teams were still trying to break in, gravity reversed. The pirates found themselves floating helplessly, their cutting tools drifting away from their hands. "How interesting," Jai-Ho said to the open comm channel. "It seems our basic gravity systems are malfunctioning. Safety protocols suggest we should test them thoroughly." Sun Wu pressed more controls. The gravity in different sections of the ship began to shift and pulse. What appeared to be simple gravity plates were actually precisely controlled gravity weapons, designed by humans who understood that every system could serve multiple purposes. Through the ship's cameras, they watched the pirate boarding teams struggle. Their advanced combat armor, designed for normal combat, was useless against these unexpected tactics. "This is impossible," High Commander Vex shouted through the comm. "These are not normal ship systems." "Normal?" Haynul asked from her station. "Commander, did you know that on Earth, we have to design everything to work in different gravity conditions? It's just basic engineering for us." Engineer Du Yun's voice came through the internal comm. "Captain, the pirates are trying to scan our power distribution network. Should I show them why our reactor needs so much extra capacity?" "Please do," Jai-Ho replied. "It's important to be thorough in these educational moments." The Silent Dawn's power core pulsed again. Energy flowed through systems that looked simple on the surface, but were far more complex underneath. The pirates' scans showed them something their computers couldn't understand: a merchant ship systems being used in ways they had never imagined. "You see, Commander," Jai-Ho explained calmly, "humans don't think about weapons the way other species do. We look at a gravity plate and see a dozen different uses. We install a power core that seems too big for a merchant ship because we know that power can be used for many things." Security Chief Yumgai watched his screens as more pirate teams floated helplessly in the altered gravity fields. "Captain, their boarding teams are completely disabled. No casualties, but they won't be cutting through any more hulls today." The pirate ship itself was starting to back away. Their sensors were overwhelmed by what they were seeing. Every scan of the Silent Dawn showed them something new, something that shouldn't exist on a simple merchant vessel. "I don't understand," Commander Vex said, his voice quieter now. "Your ship, everything about it is wrong. Every system is more than it seems." "Wrong?" Jai-Ho smiled. "No, Commander. This is how humans build ships. We come from a world where everything can kill you. We learned long ago that survival means using everything you have in every way possible." Min-Jai looked up from her communication station. "Captain, the pirate ship's weapons are powering down. They're requesting to open a dialogue." "Of course they are," Jai-Ho said. "The best students are those who know when it's time to learn something new." High Commander Vex watched helplessly as his boarding teams floated in the Silent Dawn's gravity fields. His mighty pirate vessel, which had captured dozens of merchant ships before, now seemed weak and vulnerable. "Captain Jai-Ho," Vex said, his voice much softer than before, "perhaps we can discuss terms." On the Silent Dawn's bridge, Jai-Ho looked at his crew. Each of them had played their part perfectly. Now it was time for the final lesson. "Terms," Jai-Ho replied. "Of course. First, you should know that Communications Officer Minji has been broadcasting this entire encounter to every ship in the sector. Would you like to know why?" Minji smiled as she adjusted her controls. Her communication system, which had seemed so basic, now revealed its true power. "All regional frequencies are receiving our transmission, Captain, even the encrypted pirate channels. You see, Commander," Jai-Ho continued, "humans believe in teaching by example. Right now, every pirate ship in the region is learning why they should be very careful around human vessels, especially ones that don't list weapons in their manifest." Engineer Du Yun's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, their ship's engines are trying to power up to full. Should I show them our power core's last surprise?" "Please do," Jai-Ho nodded. "It's important to be thorough." The Silent Dawn's reactor pulsed one more time. Energy waves rolled out from the ship, carefully controlled and precisely targeted. On the pirate vessel, systems began to shut down. Their engines sputtered and went quiet. What are you doing to our ship?" Vex demanded, fear clear in his voice. "Nothing harmful," Jai-Ho assured him. "Just demonstrating why human power systems are so much bigger than they need to be. We like to have extra energy available for special situations." Security Chief Yungai reported from his station. "All pirate boarding teams are contained, Captain. No casualties on either side. Though I think their pride might be badly wounded." Through the ship's viewports, they could see the pirate vessel drifting powerless. Its weapons were silent, its engines dead. The mighty Stellar Blade had been defeated by a ship that supposedly had no weapons at all. "Now, Commander," Jai-Ho said calmly, "about those terms. First, you will recall all your boarding teams. Then you will leave this sector and spread the word. Tell everyone what you learned today about human ships." "And what exactly did we learn?" Vex asked quietly. Hanul spoke up from her station. "You learned that humans don't need to list weapons in our manifest, Commander, because on our ships, everything is a weapon if it needs to be." The pirate boarding teams were already retreating, their advanced combat gear looking much less impressive now. They had come expecting to find helpless merchants. Instead, they had found humans from Earth, people whose very survival had depended on turning everything into a tool for defense. "Remember this day, Commander," Jai-Ho said as the pirates withdrew. "Remember that humans don't think about weapons the way other species do. We come from a world that taught us to use everything we have, in every way possible." Minji adjusted her communications again. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple pirate vessels changing course away from this sector. It seems they're quick learners." Captain Jai-Ho smiled and sat back in his command chair. "Good. Education was always our true goal today. After all, the best way to avoid future conflicts is to help others understand why they shouldn't start them in the first place." 3 days after the encounter with the Stellar Blade, Captain Jai-Ho sat in his office, finishing his incident report. The form on his screen was simple and straightforward. Routine trade route patrol. Minor delayed due to educational interaction with local vessels. No damage to cargo or ship systems. No casualties. Continuing scheduled delivery route. Hanul entered his office with a data pad in her hand. "Captain, you might want to see this," she said, placing the pad on his desk. "News from the trading routes." Jai-Ho picked up the pad and read the report. Pirate activity in the sector had dropped to 0. Ship after ship reported clear sailing through what used to be dangerous space. The word had spread quickly through the pirate networks. Stay away from human merchant ships, especially ones with suspiciously empty weapons manifests. "It seems our lesson was effective," Jai-Ho said with a small smile. "How are our ship's systems?" Everything is back to normal operating status, Hainul reported. Du Yen says the power core actually enjoy the exercise. All special modifications are hidden again, ready for the next teaching opportunity. Minji's voice came through the office comm system. Captain, we're receiving interesting transmissions from the trading stations ahead. It seems Commander Vex has been quite thorough in sharing his new knowledge. Oh. Jeho raised an eyebrow. What are they saying? The stories are getting better every time they're retold. Minji replied, amusement in her voice. Some say we turned our entire ship into pure energy. Others claim we bent space itself. My favorite is the one where we transformed our cargo holds into dimensional portals. Jeho laughed softly. Let them talk. Sometimes the stories that spread are more effective than the actual events. Security Chief Yumgai appeared at the office door. Sir, the crew has finished running maintenance checks on all our special modifications. Everything is ready for our next cargo run. Excellent. Jeho nodded. And our actual cargo? Safely secured and undamaged. Yumgai confirmed. The farm equipment will reach the outer colonies right on schedule. The Silent Dawn continued its journey through space, looking once again like a simple merchant vessel. Its manifest still listed no weapons. Its systems still appeared basic and harmless to outside scans. But now, other ships gave it a wide, respectful berth. In the ship's mess hall, the crew shared meals and laughed about the pirates' faces when they realized their mistake. The story would be told many times, growing with each telling. But the core lesson would remain the same. Humans from Earth didn't need to list weapons on their manifest. Their entire ship was a weapon, built by people who had learned to survive on a world that never stopped trying to kill them. Captain, Sun Wu called from navigation. We're approaching the outer colony trading station. They're requesting our manifest. Jeho smiled and pressed a button on his desk. Send them the usual list. Farm equipment, processed metals, basic electronics. No weapons, of course. As the Silent Dawn approached the station, its hull gleaming innocently in the starlight, Jeho thought about all the other human ships sailing through space with their own empty weapons manifests. Each one carried the same message. Sometimes the most dangerous things were the ones you couldn't see on any list. The incident would be recorded in official reports as a minor delay, barely worth mentioning. But in the dark spaces between the stars, the story would be told again and again. The day when alien pirates learned why Deathworlder ships don't list weapons in their manifest.